So let's look for HDR maps. We have a rich studio library. Let's take compilation with people. It has 3 very good nocturnal HDR maps. This nocturnal one is great. And this, it's too purple. I don't really like it. Let's better take this one. 04 HDRI. We'll now set render basically. We have active Corona renderer. We have no settings at all. Launching, starting real time. Paying no attention to the result. Let's run the converter and convert all materials from V-Ray to Corona to avoid any glitches. That's it, the scene was converted. We even have some fire in the fireplace. Let's now set override material gray color. Light is set at gray material, since if we set light at some already set materials, we can be deflected. So we'll take some ball from the slot by default, Corona material by default, activating MTL override, and dragging here. Now we have gray material. And we can set the light. I will be using the compact mode, and upload HDR here. Finding Corona bitmap. Finding the required HDRI map. And waiting until it's uploaded. They are very large size, so uploading takes a lot of time. Okay. Alright, HDRI is uploaded. Let's set it at 8. Choosing environment. Instance. Okay. Now we have light. I will not overcomplicate with the composition too much. I can change it directly in the frame buffer. Let's set to. And turn HDR around its axis. See what light we get. On one hand, I like light that I have right now, without any settings. On the other part, I don't really like how the sky looks. Choosing the parameter environment, I will use the step of 30 to rotate it and observe the result. I'm afraid that when trees appear, it's already too dark in the next option. It's 90 degrees. Let's try minus 30. It doesn't look nice. I haven't yet made my mind with light. Let's do the following. I'll return from environment, HDR. And what I'll do is I'll use the Corona Select map. So this Corona Select allows selecting different maps in real time. That is, I'll set Corona Select for light here, and I'll connect HDR to 0 map. I'll add another bitmap and look for HDR map options by Peter Guthrie. Since I still like the light, but I dislike the background. Of course we can replace it in Photoshop, but we shouldn't forget that we have reflections in glass, water, all this will be reflected. So I decided not to use sun plus sky, because the HDRI map looks much more interesting in reflections. Okay, let's look at Peter Guthrie's HDRI maps. We have some evening ones. It's uploaded. Okay, selecting open. And as you can see, these HDRI maps vary in terms of brightness. They are dark in Viz People and brighter in Peter Guthrie. So if I connect it and we'll be switching between 2 maps, we will see how bright this map is. So we have to correct this HDRI map. So I'll choose the output parameter and I'll decrease for now tenfold. Let's see what we have. Tenfold is insufficient. Let's make it 100-fold. Still too bright. So let's set 1000. Not very beautiful. This map is rather daily. Let's upload another one. Let's choose this one, Dust Blue. Now it sounds about right in terms of light. I think I must add brightness to it. So let's choose 0.3. And now I will not change the exposure, since if I want to return to Viz People and editing exposure for each HDRI map is not very correct, as I think. It's better to adjust them to each other in in illumination, and then to switch between them further. Let's set the value to 0.01. We have the interesting illumination. Let's now turn the map around its axis to select the best option. Let's move with a step of 90 degrees. So we have to catch this light and dark pattern when we have more light on the left than on the right. That is, on the right we'll have more shadow, and here on the left more illumination. And it's very unstable because the light here is evening and very washy, so we're capturing these half tones. I think that's not so good with 0, 30, 60. I like it more with -30. I don't think that I have to edit the white balance too much. I think it will be good to neutralize the image, which could be done with white balance here. We can lift it and make the color more neutral. Let us set 8000K and settle on this so far. We can also increase the exposure a bit. Let's make it 2.5 and set highlight compress to 2. And we can add some contrast now. 3. At first sight, it seems that it's not nocturnal, but we should keep in mind that we'll have trees, materials, and it's going to be dark. So we set the basic filling light. Now we have to set the light inside. In order to set it, we should ensure that something will be seen through glasses. I haven't set the glass material yet, so I'll take the glass object. Let me see. Glass. And so we're adding this object in the override exclusion. And so the glass becomes transparent. But to be sure, I'll reset this material. So I'll create a material. It will be by default, since it's the exterior. Render is nocturnal. Glasses are transparent. I will not set absorption and complicate anything. The material will be very simple. And we'll make black diffuse. Set reflection to 1. So let's make it thin. I'll call this material glass. And also assign it directly to the glass object. Okay. All right, and so now we have to block the view and work with light sources inside. But at the same time, we need to see what's happening in the real-time render. So I'll reduce this window, leave the maximized mode. I'll also block the quad camera 1 with the lock. And that's it. Now I can play the master in this house. And the real time will not be updated. So we have a fireplace here. No lamps. No lamps at all. So we'll make the light randomly. Let's assume that some isolated lamps will give light downwards. From this angle, in principle, no lamps will be seen. So let's just add dots. I'm not going to use IES. We'll just make sources Corona light. As disks with the target, lowering the target to make them stand evenly. Now, of course, we'll decrease the disk size because this one is too large. Let's make it 6 centimeters in diameter. We'll set the light in K. Set 4000, such warm orange light. And also place this lamp somewhere under the ceiling, like this. And copy the step of approximately 1 meter. Or something like that. And we'll have about 5 such light sources. Looks right? So there's some light, but apparently it's too weak. So let's check the light sources for adequacy, whether they interfere with geometry. No, they don't. Everything's fine. It means that we lack brightness. Switching to lumen. Now, why lumen? If I change the size of these light sources, I want the intensity to be the same. Let's set brightness to 2000. See, now we have some light. Now let's look into the references. I like this one. It's much brighter here. So I'll make it even brighter, just a little bit. So I'm going to set it to 4000. By the way, nice illumination appeared here. Maybe rocks will be nicely highlighted. Anyway, we'll be able to adjust it later for the reference. I think that will make the light mix. But so far, being cool profs, we'll do without any light mix. It's still not clear how the light is gonna look. I think I'll wait until I have ready materials, and then I'll be able to make it brighter. All right, we've added the light inside, adjusted basic, illumination. Now it's time to work with geometry. So I'll make a dog for starters. We'll make it small, 1.5 meters, something like that. And around 4 meters long. All right, so we can isolate highlights and make boards. Choosing the box. We'll have the board thickness about 5 centimeters. And let its width be about 10 centimeters. There we go. This board. Removing faces right now. I'll be using the quad chamfer modifier. Let's choose chamfer style, actually. Let's pick this, or maybe this. Okay, I went over the top. Now I could make chamfer boxes, but I decided this way. Just in case, I'll make another selection if I want to make these boards curved. And of course we can smooth them later if we want. Now we'll copy the boards with small intervals. I don't know the exact amount, so let it be 20 for now. Not enough. Okay, so we have the flooring. So now I'll make some frame for it. Just from this board. I'll make it a copy because these boards should be stronger. And surely with tie-ins to try to avoid mess in the scene. There we go. I must admit I'm quite a bit of a modeler. There are some errors. There's perhaps a more optimal way, but I decided to act this way. Already. Alright, so there's a kind of structure. And now we're gonna install some columns. And also bollards to tie a boat. We'll think how to make it better. The small log radius is around 10 centimeters. So we'll make it 1500 centimeters high. Add a bit more details. And to prevent our boat from floating away, I'm going to make a kind of cap on the top. In fact, I chose a slippery slope because by all accounts I had to find a reference of some dock and perform modeling according to the reference. But we have no time for modeling, so we make a sketch, which we'll be able to improve if required. We'll gather them in a group so far, but without taking goodbye to the dock, because we might need to build some bridging. And let's see how it looks. What it looks like in the design. We have a drop here, so we don't have to build any bridging. Okay, it leaves the frame. We'll correct it. Of course, I'd like it to protrude further from water, but then I'll have to lower the water level. And if we do this, the shore will become too much exposed. It won't look good. So we'll sacrifice something. Lower a bit to prevent these bollards from protruding. It's fine now, so let's move to the stones. Starting Quixel Bridge. Choosing 3D, typing rock in search, detailing the search of 3D assembly. So we need a piece of rock. These stones seem to look nice. This thing right here. But I've already downloaded it. Right, so we have to look closely because it costs money, and then start downloading so as to feel no torturing regrets for wasted money. I've already downloaded these. They all appear in downloads. I have loads of assets downloaded already. Let's move to the lower part. Let's export some kind of rock. I think that a low sloped one will fit good. That's right. Because probably we'll have some animal here in composition. So I'm going to choose this element. And I press download. There we go. And while it's downloading, let's also start downloading this stone. This great thing is also downloading. Alright, looks like we're equipped with stones. So now we can look for something interesting in Megascans. I'd like to make all this soil surface a kind of fancy. So let's look at the references for ground. So we need something rocky. Let's look for some soil. Some stony land. Because this beach is not exactly a beach. So let's go ahead and look for some soil. So these are the ones that are already downloaded. So it would be cool to view what's downloaded. By the way, this soil with the stones is cool. Or this one. Why I'm choosing light and not dark is because these stones and rocks are light. And if we choose dark soil, they will differ greatly. It will seem that these stones are a mismatch. And this soil will be a perfect choice. First, it's light and matches the rocks in hue. So let's take this option and download it. I'll use it without adding any mixes because it looks good even without them. Alright, so all the assets are downloading. In the meanwhile, I'll go ahead and export some rock in my scene. So while it's still downloading, I'll continue working with the scene.